Communion is based off true events that happened to writer Whitley Strieber. Basically, he had encounters with what we would call alien greys. I've held off on watching movies with the typical skinny, gray-skinned, black almond-eyed aliens, mainly because they scare me. There's just something terrifying about them. Bigfoot and other monsters are scary, but at least you can run and you have a fighting chance. When it comes to alien greys, there's nowhere you can hide. If they want you, they're gonna get you. Like I said, Communion is all about an alien encounter that Whitley Strieber had. But who's Whitley Strieber? Well, he's a horror author. He wrote The Wolfen and The Hunger, which were made into feature films. However, those were works of fiction and always meant to be. According to Strieber, Communion is true. The movie opens up with Strieber, played by Christopher Walken, which is an interesting choice for sure. He's having trouble writing his newest book. Everything from writer's block to the computer crashing on him.
Get up! I'm cooking. I'm on a roll. What's the matter with you?
Right from the opening scene, Whitley is portrayed just a little crazy. Maybe crazy isn't the right word. Eccentric.
Whitley!
So anyway, Whitley's wife, Anne, and his son, Andrew, are planning on going to the family's cabin for a weekend getaway with some friends. When they get there, they all goof around and the mood is light and playful. That is, until it gets dark outside. A little after 12, I think. This clock is kind of hard to read. Why did they make the hands so big? Well, at some point in the night, the outside lights turn on and Whitney wakes up to see something peek around the corner. A bright light envelops the room and wakes everyone up. Whitney gets some weird magic wand put to his forehead and his son starts screaming. His father goes to calm him down and tells Andy that it was just a nightmare. But was it?
It was a nightmare.
Well, maybe. The next morning, everyone is acting like nothing happened. Did they all just forget? The only person who feels off about the whole night is Alex, the friend they brought along.
Okay, I want to go home.
He doesn't want to be there anymore, and he insists that they leave right now. So they all head back to the city. It's now Halloween, and all the kids in the building have gathered to go trick-or-treating. Andy and Whitley go around door to door until they see an ominous-looking pumpkin at the end of a hall. As they walk closer, Whitley tries to scare his son, and once they get there, this giant bug thing jumps out and scares both of them half to death.
Get away!
It takes its mask off, and it's just some 13-year-old girl, but Whitley goes off on her, yelling at her for scaring his son, but more so because it scared him too. Fast forward a bit and it's now Christmas time, and Andy can tell something is wrong with his dad. He isn't himself and he just doesn't seem happy. The truth is that ever since the incident at the cabin, he hasn't been. So what do? They go back to the cabin for Christmas. And surprise, surprise, it all happens again. But this time, he's on the ship with them. They do some tests, then he wakes up, like nothing happened. Later that day, they go for a hike and Whitley has to sit down. He's got a bad headache and Anne notices a little mark by his ear. The first physical evidence that something has happened. That night, they're still at the cabin, and this time, Whitley goes on the offense. He grabs his shotgun and goes on the hunt. He does see something grab a vase, so he shoots it, but it turns out to be nothing. Then his wife comes out, and he almost shoots her too. That's the final straw for Anne, and she sets up an appointment with their doctor. Whitley goes to him. He recommends that he go see a therapist who puts him under hypnosis. We see a little bit more of the details of what happened those nights. And boy, oh boy, is it weird. Whitley is on the ship, and he's all friendly with the aliens, even dancing with them, and kisses one of them. Okay, but then the probe comes out, and he doesn't like that idea one bit. I mean, who would? It looks like instead of going around back, it attaches to the front. I'm guessing the aliens need him to procreate? I don't know, and at this point, I'm too afraid to ask. The probe goes away, and now Whitley is in a room, playing with a bunch of children. Are they all his children that he had unknowingly? He snaps out of his hypnosis session, a changed man, knowing that these things, whatever they were, have been with him his whole life.
Thank you. Now I know. This thing has been in my life my whole life.
The doctor thinks it would be best for them to go to a small group of people that all described the same situation. But it's not really for him. The way the others talk, it does sound like there was some sort of human harvesting going on. But the Striebers have had enough, and they leave. The next day, Whitley has his own way of dealing with these things. He's going to head out on his own and confront whatever they are head on. Armed with only a camcorder, he goes out to the property, and sure enough, the bright light is there, almost waiting for him. I think it's time to hit the record button on that camera. Okay, he goes inside. Hit the record button. The aliens are in there dancing. Record it! Why is that so hard? Well, he misses his chance, because one of them takes it and tells him he's not allowed to tape it. Great. Then they do a special handshake. They high-five and start dancing. I'm not making this up. This is what they claimed happened. Then we see him watching himself as a magician. And one of the big-eyed aliens takes off half a mask, but Whitley knows that's not his true face. What's going on? I feel like I'm just saying random words that aren't making sense. When he wakes up, I guess he feels better. He tells his wife what happened, and that they let him know he was chosen, and that he was also invited to go with them, which I guess he turned down. He decides that he's going to give up on whatever book he was writing before, and write about this experience.
What happened?
They danced.
And that was Communion. Part grounded story about a family dealing with a traumatic experience, and part, I don't know, alien abduction? I guess. I don't know what they were smoking when they came up with those abduction scenes. But here's the kicker. The screenplay was written by Strieber too. So I guess that all just really happened? He danced and high-fived aliens? I mean, wouldn't you want to be as authentic as you could be if you were writing this? Obviously, when it's all said and done, I'm not buying it. It does make for an entertaining story, though. It's not really a horror movie. There are scary parts, but it wasn't at all what I was expecting. You'll either love or hate Christopher Walken. I guess even Strieber thought Walken was portraying him as a little too crazy, and Walken just said, if the shoe fits. I did like the rest of the cast, and the music by Eric Clapton was pretty good. It sets the tone for the movie. But the aliens weren't really scary. Maybe they were never meant to be. The little blue doctors, as they called them, looked more like funny Star Wars characters. And if that's what they were going for, well, then they did a pretty good job. Watch Communion when you're in the mood for a not-so-scary, weird alien movie. I give it 2.5 weird, big-handed clocks out of 4.
Look for tracks, and.
Here's a Bigfoot